All right, looks like we got a bit of a crowd here, so thanks everybody for joining. We're just going to get started here um, with introductions as if people come along as we go, that's okay. And as I mentioned off the top here, hello there. We'll open it up for questions at the end as well. But if during the presentation you have a question about anything that you see as we go through the itinerary and the details, feel free to jump in as well. This will be a free-flowing conversation, not too prescribed. And as we go through things, we're happy to answer questions as we go through and give you a little more insight on our Jurassic Coast UK 2026 trip. So let's take you through that right now. So, welcome to Jurassic Coast UK in Mary Anning's footsteps, a Dinosaur Trips preview. I am Zach Vanos. I'm the founder and director of Dinosaur Trips. I've spent 15 years in the travel and tourism industry before I started this company. Worked with a lot of organizations, whether they were not-for-profits or small tour operators like myself, travel agents, conservation organizations, indigenous organizations, associations, art collectives, everything you can think of across the spectrum. Which is why when it came time to start Dinosaur Trips, I thought, well, I've been in this business for a minute now and got a pretty good understanding of the ins and outs. And one thing I came to realize was no one else was offering paleontology focused travel anywhere in the world. So that's what Dinosaur Trips was born of. And of course, my co-host today and the lead expert on our Jurassic Coast in Mary Anning footsteps trip next year, Amy Atwater, Director of Paleontology at Dinosaur Ridge. Welcome, Amy.
Hi, thanks so much for having me
No,
and
my
letting me go
pleasure.
on this trip again. I had the best time ever in the world. This last May we did the first trip and it was, life-changing. It was incredible.
Yeah, I was super jealous. Wasn't on that one despite being the founder and director of the company. That was for those many
All
of you
women.
probably know, that was an all-women expedition that we went out with for the first in Mary Anning's footsteps. But this year we're excited to be opening it up for everybody who wants to join us. Amy's credentials are there. They're impressive. She's a vertebrate paleontologist and fossil aficionado. Got degrees in anthropology and geology. Obviously, an accomplished science communicator, experienced national parks ranger and guide, which helps come in when you're leading these treks out there. I know you're the president of the Colorado Scientific Society, author of The Fossil Keeper's Treasure, a book
Woo-woo.
that you'll get a few more details about in a moment, co-host of the Weird and Dead podcast, co-creator of Mary Anning's Revenge blog. You've named three new species of early primates. Is that still accurate? No, no nonsense. I listed this.
I have another one in the works, but it
All
hasn't been
right.
officially published yet. But yes, new one
So
in the
we've got a
works.
fourth named primate on the way, and of course a
Yep.
champion for engaging diverse audiences in science. And yeah, that's a big part of what we want to do at Dinosaur Trips is take people who are not paleontologists like myself,
Mhm.
but just have an interest in this and make it accessible. And that's very much what we're going to be doing on the Jurassic Coast next June. So for those of you who did join live, one lucky thing is you'll be in a draw for our prize pack, which will include a signed edition of The Fossil Keeper's Treasure, signed by the author, Amy Atwater, who's right there, showing off the book. You got $500 off future Dinosaur Trips adventure. That's not applicable to the Jurassic Coast trip, but any future trip. And this mug that I'm holding right here, that actually it won't be quite
That
like this.
exact
They'll
one.
say Dinosaur Trips on them, as well as the logo. But yes, so that you can show them off on your Zoom calls in the morning. So that's our prize pack we'll be drawing from those of you who attended. All right, so why Dinosaur Trips? Just a quick background on this company as I kind of started on. It was born from my lifelong fascination that resurfaced while I was working in the travel industry, and I realized there was an incredible opportunity to share the world through the lens of paleontology, to visit places where science, deep time, and adventure all meet, and we certainly did that. I'm just back this week. From a trip to Patagonia, our land of the Titans, 2 week adventure across Patagonia. And I can certainly say that one, as well as our Alberta trips that we've been doing, they bring all those elements together. Modern history, prehistory, culture, science, and certainly a lot of adventure in there. And I know that's coming up for this Jurassic Coast trip as well. So just wanted to share that with the world, give people an opportunity who are interested in maybe exploring through paleontology and everything that it unlocks, make it accessible. I like to say we open doors and open drawers that your average person can't get into. And we have a lot of fun doing that. So it's a meaning adventure for travelers of all kinds, and especially not just, it says especially not adults there. Sorry, I should say especially not just not just kids, because we've got a campaign going, Dinosaurs Not Just for Kids. As much as we love doing family trips and love having kids along, we're also trying to shake up the kind of thinking that dinosaur interests are for children only. No, it's a world of real science, as Amy can certainly speak to, of a science that's constantly evolving. If you follow our newsletter, you see there's always new discoveries, more than I can fit in the newsletter in the world of paleontology all the time. This is an active, happening world, and there's a lot, no matter what level you want to come at it from the most amateur level to deep dives, like some of our guests who just blow me away with what they know despite not being a paleontologist by trade. We're here to meet you at every level. So welcome to this presentation. Welcome to Dinosaur Trips. Let's start off with why the Jurassic Coast, and why have we chosen this destination as one of our lead destinations that Dinosaur Trips has started our evolution on. Alberta, Canada was our first trips. The Jurassic Coast was the first time we've gone international. We've done spots across the US, Wyoming, Colorado, Utah, and as I just said, we just got back from Patagonia, doing the Argentinian side of Patagonia, which was really exciting. And all these spots are chosen specifically for how rich of an offering they provide in paleontology, but also in everything else that goes with it. It's not just, even if you're not that into dinosaurs or paleontology, these destinations will provide more than enough for you to get an awesome holiday out of it all the same. But here's some quick facts about the Jurassic Coast if you're curious. Where is it exactly? Well, it's located on the southern English Channel of England. It stretches 95 miles, is 153 kilometers from Exmouth in Devon to Studland Bay in Dorset. This trip does not cover the entire Jurassic Coast. That's just to give you a sense of the proper geographical Jurassic Coast. We'll show you in a minute exactly the territory that this trip will be covering. It's known for, well, it was England's first UNESCO World Heritage Site for its geological significance. What do we mean by that? Well, it's got dramatic cliffs, arches, beaches revealing 185 million years of Earth's history. It's famous for its fossil-rich rocks from the Triassic, Jurassic, and Cretaceous, which is significant. A lot of destinations that you visit might only have one or two. But on the Jurassic Coast, it's exposing all three. So you're telling the full story of deep time in that part of the world. And it's a geologist and fossil hunter's paradise. As I say, it's layers of deep time exposed by the sea, always being exposed by the sea, which is for the spots that we like to go to, that's what's key. That's what's key for paleontologists and fossil hunters is Earth that's being constantly exposed so that you can find new bones, new fossils. And the ocean, or the sea rather, the English Channel here does a fantastic job of taking off that rock year in, year out. Eroding up to 1 meter per year, actually. So that's really significant. That's a lot of new stuff being exposed all the time, constantly revealing new fossils and reshaping the landscape. From a paleontological POV, Amy, I invite you to step in at any point here, as I'm just a travel guy, but there's an incredible record of evolution here. Each rock layer is preserving distinct assemblages of fossils from largely marine mammals, ammonites, and microfossils. We are called Dinosaur Trips, but the truth on this one is it's not so much dinosaurs as it is marine life. Reading the Earth's changing
So
environments.
you can get your occasional bloat and float Scelidosaurus or an ankylosaur dinosaur. So we will see dinosaurs in a few of the museums that we visit as well that were
Oh,
washed
fantastic.
into this ancient sea that
Oh, that's so
preserved.
cool. I
Isn't
did
that
not even
cool?
know that part.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Scelidosaurus.
Yeah, and then we're looking at sedimentary sequences that reveal shifting sea levels, climates, ecosystems. So that helps scientists like Amy reconstruct paleo-environmental change across 185 million years, what was happening in each of these eras. And you got from giant sea monsters to microfossils. You got home to iconic marine reptiles like the plesiosaur, but equally vital and famous for its ammonites, as Amy's holding right there. Microfossils, super tiny microfossils, trace fossils that tell further stories of who was there and what they were doing. And the 71 strata, 71 stories. So at Lyme Regis, where our journey will begin. Scientists have identified 71 distinct rock layers at Lyme Regis. Each is marked by unique ammonite species. So that gives you a detailed record of evolutionary change through time. That's really crazy. 71 different species through 71 strata. It's really, you know, it's looking at history right in front of you, prehistory right in front of you. So and another reason, of course, perhaps the main reason that this place today is so famous for its fossils is Mary Anning. And I'll let the author, co-author of the Mary Anning's Revenge blog and the lead of our trip, Amy, do a much better job of taking you. If you don't know much about Mary Anning, we'll just give you a little insight in who she is and why she is so significant to the history of paleontology.
Yeah, she is my hero, my role model, a big inspiration for me going into paleontology, though she has been dead for over, for a very long time. She was born in Lyme Regis on the southern coast there in 1799. She was a self-made paleontologist who picked up the trade of finding fossils from her father because they would sell them to the tourists who would come to the southern coast for the refreshing air. And so they'd sell them as curios. You know, ammonites were called like snake stones and vertebraries, and they had all these different names for the different types of ammonite fossils that we find from ammonites, belemnites, which are these kind of squid bullet-shaped ones, the devil's toenail, which are these big oysters that look like a devil's toenail. They're gross, but they're very cool. And so she learned at a very young age, and her dad actually passed away pretty early in her life, partly because of a landslide, because of how active these cliffs are and eroding these rocks. So she started as a like 11, 12-year-old finding all of the fossils to support her family. Her and her brother, when she was just 12 years old, found the first complete ichthyosaur, which is like a fish lizard, looks like a weird pregnant dolphin. Um, Strange creature. They found the first complete one, and when she was only 24 years old, she found the first ever complete plesiosaur or long-necked marine reptile, like this guy we see here. And she was self-taught. She never went to school. She was poor. She was female. These were all marks against her in the scientific community. So a lot of her work was given credit to other people. She wasn't allowed to be in the scientific societies that were discussing her finds. She had to fight almost her entire life to be able to take care of her family, but also to show that she was truly an expert, even if she was an amateur. And her discoveries to this day are some of the most important discoveries on in the entire world, not just in England. She found the first pterosaur outside of Germany. She found all sorts of crazy fish. She figured this out by dissecting all the live animal, not live, but like modern animals washed up on the beach to teach herself anatomy. She figured out that the ancient squid ink could you add water to it, and she would write her letters in 200 million-year-old squid ink. She also helped figure out fossil poop and helped coin the term coprolites for all the fossil poop that she was finding in the ichthyosaur abdomens that the locals were putting in their tea as bezoar stones. So she just has this remarkable history. Also, you know, quite the yeah, underdog of her time, gets a lot
Mhm.
more credit now. But and this is a statue that was built literally within the last decade, and it took so much public support to get a statue to this incredible scientist. And again, so a lot of what we want to do in my passion is about sharing Mary's story, and again, making sure that all scientists and all people get credit for their work and the hard things that they do, and to make paleontology accessible. Because as we can see by having it open to lesser people of lesser means like Mary, we get better science. And so for me, that's why it's so important to have opportunities like these trips to allow folks from all different backgrounds a chance to contribute to our science, and that's going to make the best science.
Thank you for that, Amy. And yeah, we could go into great detail about Mary Anning, but that's what the trip's for. So
Exactly.
if you
You
join
walk
us
in
on
her
this,
footsteps. Yeah,
walk
we go
literally in her
to
footsteps.
Yeah, we'll go to her statue. We visit her grave. The Lyme Regis Museum is actually built in the old in her one of her old homes. It was completely demolished down to the baseboards essentially, but that's the same location. We can go to the church where the stained glass window was made in her honor. So it really is this incredible trip to be able to be literally in the footsteps of such an epic paleontologist.
All right, so on that note, let's get into the journey itself. It's 8 days from June 12th to the 19th, 2026. It starts in Lyme Regis with the Lyme Regis Fossil Festival for 2 days. Then you're off to Bridport, to Abbotsbury, to Weymouth, to Lulworth, to Kimmeridge, to Worth Mattraverse, to Swanage, and to Poole. So that's the journey right there. You've got a picture from this year's trip, a little lollygagging out there, enjoying fine weather. England can be a lot of different things, but you guys had great weather for it
We had
this.
incredible weather. We went in early, well, mid-May, so about a
Yeah.
month before this year. I was nervous. The ladies kept making fun of me for all the raincoats I had packed, but I wanted to be prepared just in case. I'm from Oregon. I'm always ready for rain. But we had just spectacular weather, and I had wished I'd had like more t-shirts.
I mean, we'll never promise good weather, but no, it did look spectacular this past year, and we were hoping for that in 2026 as well. All right, so let's get into the details. So here's a nice little illustration I found by Laura Hallett to give you a sense of exactly where you'll be traveling on this trek. So it starts in Lyme Regis. You got the Mary Anning illustration up here. Going along, as we mentioned, to Abbotsbury. You've got Chesil Beach, which we'll get into, as well as Dirtledore, Lulworth Cove. So, and give you a sense, this is an illustration, but a sense of kind of the vibe as you make your way along this gorgeous coast. Somewhat looking down for fossils, but also looking up because the seascape is just gorgeous. The towns are beautiful. You've got your towns like Weymouth, where you've got all the different color buildings. You've got your little beach towns as well, your stone towns. So there's going to be a lot of variety as you go along. Classic pubs, classic hotels, a
A
very
couple
English feel.
castles.
Couple
Yeah, and
castles, why
couple
not?
castles. We went to like a castle in ruins and then like a modern still like lived in castle. I was like, whoa.
So, so it's bringing the English experience absolutely for you. I promise you that. All right, so the arrival is in Lyme Regis. We'll go through details here. It's an all-inclusive trip for the most part, as far as your guide, your experiences, your entries to museums, everything like that. We will discuss what's not included. Most meals are included, but not all meals, mainly for the sake of giving people freedom throughout the trip when that's an option. But what is not included is your transportation to and from the beginning and end point of the trip. So you will be looking to get yourself to Lyme Regis. That's where the trip officially starts on June 12th for the beginning. So day one is in Lyme Regis. It's the day before the Fossil Festival actually starts. You can arrive at any time that day. Accommodations will be at the Rock Point Inn. Free exploration, that's time to walk around Lyme Regis for yourself, or if you're flying in and you're a little jet lagged, get yourself just acquainted. And then there'll be a welcome dinner that evening hosted by Amy, where you'll meet your fellow guests, get a sense of what's to come, go through the itinerary, not in a dissimilar way from the way we're doing it right now. Answer any questions people might have. Make sure that, although we'll be asking you well in advance about dietary restrictions or any concerns you might have, that'll all be reiterated one more time. And it will not, I should note as well, it won't simply be Amy leading. We've also got local on the ground guides to take care of logistics, all your questions that might have to do with the history, culture of England of the time that's not related to paleontology, and we'll also be meeting other paleontology guides along the way as well. But this day is just to get into Lyme Regis, get settled, do some exploring. I mean, if you don't mind, just tell us a little bit about your experience, your first time visiting Lyme Regis earlier this year.
I mean, I started crying. I've been wanting to visit Lyme Regis for 20 years. So I had I mean, it was incredible to just kind of go through this beautiful countryside and then come out to the ocean view, this small town where these narrow little roads that are still some of the original buildings from Mary Anning's time. And just immediately taken in this gorgeous view of the oceans and the epic cliffs that you just immediately start thinking about all the cool fossils that were being found there. The shops in Lyme Regis are delightful and everyone was incredibly friendly. I also want to say that we had quite a variety of different dietary restrictions with our last trip, and I was so blown away by how everywhere we went had such incredible different dietary accommodations, from vegan food to completely gluten-free food, all sorts of different things. But Lyme Regis itself was like this delightful town, and it was right before Flag Day, so they just had all of these beautiful streamers and everything in this gorgeous gorgeous, quaint town. And you really could just imagine what it was like back in the 1800s when Mary Anning was walking those streets and going down to the beach to look for fossils every day.
Yeah, and it's not just even been an inspiring spot for paleontologists like Mary Anning or those who have come since, but I know Jane Austen was very
Yep.
inspired by the region in her writing of her books. Quite a few writers, and so there's a whole literary history, which, I won't lie about our audience. Dinosaur Trips guests tend to be a little nerdy and big time readers, so I'm sure that's appealing to a lot of folks for other reasons as well. We'll move along here. Days 2 and 3 are the Fossil Festival. So you've got 2 full days at the Lyme Regis Fossil Festival, largely to explore as you want. Dinosaur Trips will be there with a table set up. Amy will be there with your book as well. And of course, we'll be around to chat, to walk around, to hang out as well. But the festival has a lot of different components going on, and we invite you to do that in your own time, at your own speed, in your own way. Choose the talks that most interest you. I'm not going to force everybody to kind of stick together. There'll be plenty of time to hang out along along the Jurassic Coast. This is some time to really take in the couple days of festival. As I say, there's displays, talks, fossil walks to explore prehistory. You'll meet leading fossil experts in addition to Amy,
Yes.
artisans, authors. It's a real awesome kind of festival that takes over the town from, I know, the chapels, obviously the museum itself. The whole town basically comes alive with the spirit of Mary Anning and the excitement around fossils.
And it really, I can't emphasize like what a cool grassroots opportunity this seems to be to meet some incredible paleontologists. Like a lot of folks come to this festival because of how significant Lyme Regis is. So if you're a fan of Steve Bersati and his written work, like the Rise and Fall of Dinosaurs, he was there this last year. I suspect he would be here again this next year. I mean, a lot of the major authors, if you've been reading a lot of those cool paleo books, Dean Lomax, a lot of them come to this festival. So it's such a cool opportunity to not only go to their talks, but literally meet them and interact with these folks. And they are really cool, awesome people that will be super cool to be able to interact with as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah, and it's not like they're up on I mean, they will
No,
be on stages and stuff, but you're just, the
they're walking
one thing
around.
I've learned is, yeah, they're just going to be walking around chatting with you. Everybody's excited to have kind of found their tribe in this moment, which is also something that I know Amy can speak to happens on these trips is you find people, like-minded folks, and you just have a really good time talking dinosaurs and paleontology because it's not necessarily easy for all of us to find that in our day-to-day life. So it's a great space to kind of find and experience that. So that's a couple days. And if you're all fossiled out at any point during it, as we were saying earlier, Lyme Regis offers a ton to do, but our partners as well that are helping us with the organizing on the ground, they can also, set up some other excursions or things around if you'd like to do. You just let us know, and we can help arrange that for you. If 2 days of nothing but fossil festival, you'd like to take a little or start a little hike on your own to one of the spots you won't be going, all of that's available. Those 2 days can really kind of be defined by what you want to get out of them. But then we start to make a move as we'll be moving along here. There's some big kind of centerpieces from a landscape perspective, geography perspective that take us point to point. And one of the big ones is Golden Cap, which you see here. And we'll be seeing Golden Cap as you trek along the coast. Day one up to 8.7 miles. That's 14 kilometers. You'll be climbing the Golden Cap, which is the highest point on the whole Jurassic Coast at 627 feet. You'll also be visiting the Charmouth Heritage Coast Center. But I think this is an important point here to talk about the distances. 8.7 miles, 14 kilometers. That's a trek. It's absolutely a longer trek. If that's worrying to you, don't be concerned because it's up to you. You can choose how far you walk with the group each day. That's one of the great things about our partners are helping us on the ground with the logistics and all. If midway through, if 4 miles along, 5 miles along, whatever it is, you say, that's good for me. I've had enough trekking. Jump in the vehicle. We'll take you off to the next point where everybody's going to be walking to. You can be sitting in the pub, meeting them with a beverage in hand already, or trying some pudding, or whatever it is you want to be doing, getting some rest. So some of these treks can be a little bit on the longer side. And for those that are up for it, absolutely. Amy will be out there with you, um,
Yep.
pushing Amy into doing it.
I'll
But
carry your water too. I'm a
exactly.
camel. Coming from
Well,
Colorado, I'm used to elevation
yeah,
and
there you
long
go.
hikes. And
She's got you covered.
I got you covered. And I do want to say that last year to do Golden Cap, if you want to do in a more abbreviated version, but still do Golden Cap, it's going to be around 3 to 4 miles. So there are, again, like Zach's saying, there's ways to accommodate all the different types. And so one participant just stuck with that part and she was super happy with that. And then the rest of us continued on and would do longer mileage. And she would ride along in the support car and ate a lot of pudding. So that's an
There you
option too.
go. So can you tell us a little more about Golden Cap, Amy, and just your experience there this earlier this year?
I mean, it was spectacularly gorgeous. You're looking kind of up and like down on the towns of Charmouth and Lyme Regis. So you're really getting this sense of scale of the area that Mary Anning and other paleontologists of that time would cover with their work. And Golden Cap is, again, this highest point. So it is this really cool lithology. If we want to talk about the geology of it, it's this very golden kind of sandy color as opposed to some of these darker shales that we see. So a slightly different depositional environment, which is interesting as well. But what I think is super cool is there's a classic portrait. It's the only portrait known of Mary Anning. It's her standing on the beach, pointing at an ammonite. Her dog is next to her. It's like if you Google Mary Anning, it's the picture you'll see. Golden Cap is the formation in the background of that photo. And so you will have this chance to hike to this very iconic peak that is featured in all of these, classic images of these sites throughout time. So it really is this kind of benchmark along the landscape there. And beautiful. You see, we saw some cool snakes. We saw a fox one day, lots of cows and sheep, but they're very stay in their fields. So they're very classic. It was very cool, and lots of other avid hikers, which was neat to meet people from around the world hiking out there too.
Yeah, I bet you meet a lot of folks along that trail who are
Yes.
just, it's a gorgeous trail to hike, even if you're not at all interested in paleontology. So,
And it's also fairly well marked. So if you don't always stay together as one big group, right? People hike at different paces, and we can accommodate that. So I had one
mhm.
person who was much faster, and she would, the signs are well marked. There's lots of folks around, or she would stop and wait for me, and then I'd give her her next direction. So there's ways to accommodate all different paces too. You don't have to go at the pace I'm going, which is usually with whoever is going at a slower pace, and I'll carry all your water.
All right, the next kind of location that we've got highlighted here is Chesil Beach. It's been famously written about many times in English literature. This one from John Fowles, one of the more iconic and descriptions of it. And the reason and I'll let Amy get more into it, but while you've got a lot of what you might picture as your quintessential English beach, Chesil Beach is not that. It's a little more rocky, a little more rugged, as you can read there in the words. It tests you a little bit more. Although it's also, we got a guy just fishing there. It's not quite as dramatic as John has made it out to be here necessarily, but it is a striking beach all the same.
It's absolutely beautiful. I would just say that yeah, some of the sections have like the difficulty is kind of like these undulating hills that you're going up and down, like including Golden Cap. Chesil Beach, or the shingles as they called it, is very flat. You don't have a lot of elevation, not a lot of topography, but it is like a pebbly kind of beach that is a bit hard to walk in, but great for rock hounding. And I found some cool modern bones while poking through that area too.
Oh, nice. All right. Day 5, you'll start making your way to Abbotsbury. This one is a trek of up to 8 miles, 13 kilometers, but everything we said about the last day maintains for this. There's different spots you can call it a day. Go ahead and meet folks. Go to the main spots. So as we said, Chesil Beach is on there, as well as the Fleet Lagoon, which is kind of a contrast from the beaches. An optional visit to the Dorchester Dinosaur Museum as well. So we've got, you see, most days have a museum visit included as well as the hiking throughout. So that takes us through to Abbotsbury on day 5. And then perhaps I think maybe the star of the Jurassic Coast, when we're, I guess Lyme Regis and Marianning are the stars, but from a from a landscape perspective, Dirtle Door is a big
Yes.
one. Day 6, you'll make your way to Lulworth. That's a trek of up to 11 miles, 18 Ks. Dirtle Door is on that one, as well as Stairhole and Lulworth Crumple. And you'll be staying at the historic Grand Hotel, which is very exciting. It's a classic looking hotel. Yeah, take us a little bit through Dirtle Door and that whole. I mean, here's you walking out there in this photo.
Yeah, I think this is Laura and Betsy walking out. Yeah. Oh wait, maybe that is me. That is
I
me.
think you're
Never
in there.
mind.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
me. That's my backpack. That's right. I had the biggest backpack because I was carrying all the water. So- oh my gosh. So this day was incredible. The views on this day, if you're into the landscape and the scenery, I mean, Laura still has this as her background on her phone. She printed me out an image. I have it hanging in the, the wall in one of my rooms in my house. The scenery from this day is epic and mind blowing. It's these gorgeous, dramatic white cliffs against this deep, beautiful blue ocean and sky, and then the green of all the pastures and the fields. And you're going through these undulating up and downs, which I'm not going to lie, the British don't seem to really know the concept of switchbacks. So it is a lot of straight down, a lot straight up. But we take lots of breaks. Everybody on my crew was fantastic with this. They got through it because the views were so rewarding. It was nice to just plop down once you got up a hill, have some water, eat a snack, and just take in the surroundings. If you, there are some places, if you're really daring, you can go get some very dramatic images off on these little peninsulas that I get a little nervous about height wise. But you start to then see Dirtle Door in the distance and this dramatic, you can't quite see the arch until you get closer. And that is really exciting too. And then there's actually other hidden arches throughout the landscape that aren't necessarily as big and iconic as Dirtle Door. And also, you go through one of the funniest place names that I came across ever, which is called Scratchy Bottoms. So you got to go through one of the lows, and it's literally called Scratchy Bottom, which I thought
Man, the
was
scratchy
hilarious.
bottoms. All
Scratchy
right.
Bottom right before you get to Dirtle Door. And then yeah, just iconic, beautiful views of Dirtle Door. And I mean, I'm a fan of Arches. I used to work at Arches National Park, so it did not disappoint. It was incredible.
Fantastic. And yeah, I mentioned the Grand Hotel there. That's in Swanage. And it's
Yeah,
just this
that was
like
great.
classic nostalgic English holiday style hotel. You can
Beautiful
have,
views.
yeah, you'll have time that night in Swanage to explore your own pace. You can walk along the Victorian Pier, evening calm there, kind of a quintessential English town, and just be staying at the Great Grand Hotel. So that's a nice point after your day at Dirtle Door to kind of take in that evening. Day 7 will take us to Worth Matraverse. That hike, 7.7 miles if you do the whole thing, 12 Ks, walking past a lot of the stone villages, and a visit to the Etches Collection Museum of Jurassic Marine Life. We'll play a video in a second of the Etches collection and let Amy kind of tell you about that experience. And just like that, it will be time for the evening farewell dinner. So, a good bit of distance covered. A lot will have been seen, but yeah, suddenly. Um, what I noticed from our Patagonia trip, and I've always experienced on our other trips that we've done in Alberta, for instance, is the farewell dinner comes a lot faster than you think when you're having that first welcome cocktails with the group. You're like, oh man, just met these people. I'm going to spend a week or 10 days or whatever it is with all these strangers. How's that going to go? Is it going to be long? And the next thing you know, like, it's over. We're at the farewell dinner already. So it comes at you fast, but hopefully and ideally, along the way, you'll make a lot of memories, make friends, and as I've experienced, the people who go on these trips with you, you kind of stay in touch with for sure. I mean, we just had somebody from one of our Alberta trips rejoined us in Patagonia for this recent one. So, we're starting to create our own little traveling
Community.
collective that hopefully year in, year out, we'll keep adding folks to and experience the world of various destinations together. So. That's the extension of it. But here's the Etches collections. Just give you a little bit of video look at the museum itself. And Amy, this was one we were debating whether or not we needed to include it or wanted to make it, and you were like, no, no, no. The
We
Etches
had to.
collection is awesome. So walk us through a little bit about why this museum is so special.
So again, you're going through these very small coastal towns in rural England, and then Kimmeridge is again very small. I mean, these very isolated roads to get out here, and then you come across this state-of-the-art, world-class, incredible museum that has been built right here in Kimmeridge, all because of the Sea Rex or the sea monster. It was featured on BBC with David Attenborough. You'll see more. I got a little one here in the screen, but you'll see pictures of it in the video. So this is an incredible pliosaur, which is a type of plesiosaur, something similar to what Mary Anning first discovered. And it was found by Dr. Steve Etches, who's another self-taught amateur paleontologist paleontologist who taught himself everything and then has become a BBC correspondent working with David Attenborough on discovering these incredible gems coming out of the local rocks in Kimmeridge. They're a little bit older, actually a little bit younger here than the rocks that Mary was working on. These are about 150 million years old. This building is spectacular. You're looking into the prep lab right there. I thought the displays and the entire thing were better than the Natural History Museum of London. I'm not going to lie. And yet it was this tiny little facility. And he then immediately learning that we were paleo nerds, he invited us in. We didn't have a reservation or anything, but he invited us into his prep lab, let us see all of the stuff he was prepping, holding some of the original teeth from the C. rex pliosaur and then showed us collections. They have one of the largest collections of pterosaur or pterodactyl fossils in all of the world that he has found by him and others in this state of the art. Amazing. I mean, I cannot tell you how impressed I was with these displays in such a small town. And then we got lunch at this incredible little cafe where I had like the best lunch I've ever had too. So just really surprising that in the middle of what feels like nowhere is this just mind-blowingly, incredibly high-tech beautiful museum where you can see a lot of these discoveries that Steve and others in the area have made.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And yeah, we're working on something a little special to go at the end of our trip at the Etches Museum as well. But that's a surprise for those who join us. And finally, day 8 is your final day, and that's simply a transfer to Poole Railway Station, which is included. Again, where we'll go over everything that is and is not included with this package. But your transfer to the Poole Railway Station from your hotel is included. And then from Poole, you'll be on to wherever it is you're headed to next. I think most people who would be coming in or out will be going to London, but it's all up to you. Some people I know have been thinking about connecting this with an extension to other travel. If you do get to London, the Natural History Museum there is awesome, and there's some of Mary
Yep.
Anning's discoveries are there as well, so we can certainly make recommendations for that. So that's the 8 days. Happy to open up to questions in a moment here, but just give you some of the pertinent details, and I will say we're into the final 2 weeks of bookings for this experience. So by December 1st, we need to have all our bookings in for the trip. So just let you know, if you're thinking of joining us, you got a couple weeks left to kind of lock that in. But the rate is $6,990 US per person, and that's based on double occupancy. That means shared room. If you do want your own room, we can do that. There's a 1990 is the additional there. But if you want to come solo and are willing to share with another solo traveler of the same gender, that is also an option. You just got to chat with us about that, and we'll try and pair people up the best we can and make that work. So room share options are available. Single occupancy is an option, and the standard rate is $6,990 per person based on double occupancy. And what does that include? All accommodations from day one when you get to Lyme Regis to your final day at the Grand Hotel. All that's taken care of. You got your daily breakfast every day throughout the experience. 3 lunches and 3 dinners. That first dinner, that last dinner, and there's another one that will be included in there. The rest of the time, you're hiking with folks every day. You're visiting museums with them every day, as I just experienced off our most recent trip. The opportunities to take a little time and wander are embraced by some people who just want a little bit more alone time, and others are like, nah, I still want to hang with the group. And most of the time, a good portion of the group ends up all getting dinner together somewhere anyway. So all your excursions, your local transportation, your guides, Amy plus the folks who will be your day-to-day guides and all the other paleontologists, that's all included, of course. All your entry fees, your taxes, and your permits, all that's going to be covered. All gratuities, we love to include all gratuities in these because having worked in this business for a long time, I find just stresses the guests out. Every destination is different with how much to tip. Do you tip the guide at every spot? Is it a guide at the end? So gratuities are included. We find that just helpful. If ever you want to give more for one reason or another, I'm not going to fight you on that. That's very kind and well, very much appreciated, but is certainly not expected. Gratuities are included. And finally, as I mentioned, your departure transfers from Swanage, your final hotel accommodation to Poole to grab the train to wherever you're on to next. Excuse me. Not included are your airfare, as I mentioned, in or out. beverages, transportation to Lyme Regis, however it is that you're going to be getting there, onward travel from the pool train station, personal items, of course, such as laundry and souvenirs. I assume that goes without saying, but we want to make sure it's clear. And there might be some souvenirs in there for you along the way. Your personal travel and medical evacuation insurance, which excuse me, strongly recommend insurance. But that's also, of course, not included. And your UK electronic travel authorization fees. The England has some fees for getting in and out of the country, depending on where you're coming from. So those will be on your side of the equation as well. So just if you're looking to get in contact, if you want to join us, again, that date is December 1st for our final book totals. And the group will be between 6 to 12 people. So it is small group travel. That is what Dinosaur Trips does. One, because I just prefer traveling that way. And two, because a lot of the places we go, you're getting into museums, you're getting into those doors and drawers that other people don't get to open. And you can't be putting 30, 40 people in there. It's small groups fit in there. Our dig sites is the same thing. You can't be packing a lot of people in there. But I just think 6 to 12 is an ideal group size to travel with for this kind of thing. So we keep it small no matter what we do. But yeah, happy to open it up to questions for myself or Amy about the trip. I can share if people want, I can share the booking link in the chat. But also, I would say, feel free to just give me a call or an email, Zach@dinosaurtrips.com. You can email travel@dinosaurtrips.com. There is the link on the website, of course, in the Jurassic Coast section if you want to book directly. Or you can that's my personal phone number right there. There's also our toll-free number. But yeah, happy to open it up now to any questions you might have for myself or Amy about the trip. Just unmute yourself and ask. Go ahead, Sheldon. Or do I have to unmute you? No, go ahead.
I can I've operated Zoom often enough to know the controls.
Excellent.
Because you mentioned Dr. Brashadi, I didn't know he spent much time in England. Does Dr. Hone usually come to this type of fair as well?
Yeah, based on what I've seen on social media. I mean, I'm not in touch with, I mean, I am kind of in touch with them, but not about like seeing on this level. So I don't want to say like they're going to be there. I don't know for sure if they're
Yeah.
planning on being there, but I'm pretty sure last year both of them were there based on all the
Oh, great.
pictures I saw. So again, I mean, Steve's in Edinburgh, so it's not too far for him
Mhm.
to be journeying. And I know that he and his wife just published another children's book together this summer with the same publisher as mine. So I know there's incentive, right, for those
Mhm.
sorts of activities for these UK-based books. I would assume that Magic Cat, our publisher, is going to be pushing for us to be there. So I don't know for sure, but I would say yes, Dr. Hone, Dr. Brusati, I would think, yeah, I would think there's a pretty good chance.
Great. There's another paleontologist name that's escaping me. I think he's based in Midlands, the University of Manchester. I just forget his name. If you
Dean
know,
Lomax?
no, not him. Um, if, the best that I can recall is that in a documentary 10 years ago, he went to examine um, a Tyrannosaurus specimen in Texas that had 30% or 70% of its tail ripped off. That's the only thing that I can recall of him, but um, I'm blanking on his name completely. So
Phil Manning?
it might be Dr. Manning.
Maybe Dr. I'm seeing that one pop up. I'm not positive on that, on the name, but
Hey, it's fine. If any of them show up impromptu, we'll just say hi, how are you doing, and just
yeah.
take it from there. It doesn't need to be that formal. I was asking purely out of curiosity because I like picking the minds of those in the field.
Yeah,
Well, the
me
Fossil
too.
Festival will certainly give you the opportunity to. We can't say for sure who's going to be there,
Right,
as
right.
Amy said, but
Yeah.
there will be folks who will be excited to be chatting about it all, and
Oh
certainly
yeah,
people you've heard of for sure.
the
Yeah,
And
impromptu meetups are the best.
yeah,
exactly.
and that's, I mean, like I haven't been to the festival before, but it looks amazing. And one of the connections that we made as a paleontologist, Kieran, who works at the Lyme Regis Museum, and he's helping us with some of the details. So I also know that there's just like it just seems like the place to be. So a lot of up and coming paleontologists, a lot of paleo artists, because they're selling their wares, are at this festival
Mhm.
as well. I really want one of those big Boney Club t-shirts that's not
Hmm.
being shipped to the United States right now. So I'm hoping that
Hmm.
Speed Thief will be there. So yeah, I've got my list too.
Oh, you said paleo artists.
Mm.
Would that include Marco Cavassa at all, or no?
I'm not sure. I
Really
that
Because
it
don't
because
think
I
looks
so.
follow him
very
a lot. He hasn't mentioned anything about this, but hey, if he shows up too, I got plenty of his figures, like it's Brachiosaurus from Jurassic Park.
Nice.
So he seems like such a cool guy. If he happens to show up out of the blue, like I said, the impromptu visits are the
right.
best.
Yeah, I think it will be ripe for that. Like again, I
Hmm.
mean, we could think and make a list, and then there's going to be like 20 other people we never anticipated who are going to really blow our socks off. So that's
Yeah,
why I'm super excited because it's exactly right. It's impromptu. It's this like very casual, kind of
they'd
like
be in the
going to.
crowd with us.
Yeah, exactly, literally. So, I mean, I told Zach that, like, I was like, we got to do it for the Fossil Fest. So I'm super glad that the timing's working out because I think that's
No,
just
for sure.
another layer that we can offer.
Okay, well, thank you for answering all of my questions.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thanks. That's a great.
Anybody else? Or if you're
I
shy and don't
have
want
a
to
quick
jump on the Zoom, go
question.
ahead.
Yeah, I have a quick question. As we're looking at our calendars, trying to see if we can make these dates work. First of all, amazing trip. It looks absolutely amazing. I know you guys have done the one before. You're doing this one. Uh, any inkling on if this is going to be a regular ordeal for you guys in the chance event we can't make this one? Like, just looking forward, just because this sounds like an amazing trip that if I can't squeeze it in this time, what are my chances for, 2027, 2028, et cetera?
I mean, we'd love to keep making it happen. If the audience is there for it is really the best way I can say it. I can't
Yeah,
promise 2027 or 2028 at the moment, simply because we're looking to see how this one does and the next one does. And Dinosaur Trips is still in its early days, and we're building out trip by trip. So I can't say for sure, though I can say, that as far as a group trip, no, but we can also do private tailor-made trips. Now, they wouldn't be necessarily, I mean, they can be in conjunction with future fossil festivals, but they also probably won't feature Amy if they're private as well. That's the nice part about the group trips is we can get experts along like Amy to kind of lead things. So, yeah, can't say for sure. Would love to, hope to. That's the goal is to keep doing these, maybe even multiple ones a year. But right now, yeah, we're gauging how the interest is and looking to fill this one up first and foremost.
totally, totally. Thank you. That sounds
Thank you.
amazing.
Yeah, no, I'm
Really.
excited. I didn't get to do it this past year, so I can't wait. Anyone else? Otherwise, feel free to shoot me that email. Again, Zach at Dinosaur Trips. Easy enough to remember. That's Zach for our American audience as well. At Dinosaur Trips or travel at Dinosaur Trips if you can't remember my name to put in there. As I say, you can book as well online or give me a phone call or email to have a phone call as well. Whatever works for you. Happy to chat through further details. But yeah, we would love to have you out there to join us. I think this one's going to be pretty special once again. Last year was kind of our introduction with Amy leading the way on our all women's, and we're excited to be opening it up to everybody this year. So hope to see you all out there. Hope to get to meet you in person in Lyme Regis. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Take care.
Thank you all. Hope to see you in June.